Finally, another show set in a dystopian future featuring a cast of diverse, ambiguously attractive young actors. We've been waiting for this forever, guys. This is your coverage for Pandora. We have lots of thoughts coming up right after this.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is TV Pilot Reviews here on AfterBuzz TV, and the intro I just gave you might have been a little shady, guys. I think you can tell
shade.
What I might be thinking about this show we're covering today, which is, of course, Pandora. Real quick, a little bit about the show. This is our TV Pilot Review show. This is not an after show. This is a show where four kind of independently contracted critics give you our thoughts on the pilots of shows that are airing every week. Pandora dropped last night, that being Tuesday, July 16th, so we're covering it today on Wednesday, July 17th. As of right now, we don't have an after show for this show. This is an independent review of the pilot, but if you're really interested in Pandora, let us know and we might run an after show for that. My name is Jeff Graham, and I'm not alone. I'm joined by a group of brilliant co-panelists, including the analytical Linda Antwi.
Hi, guys.
The opinionated Mina Wahab.
Hey, everyone.
And the comically lighthearted but sharp Tara Erickson.
Chiller.
How do we feel about those intros? Accurate?
Good.
I did all right.
Down.
I'll get better next week, because hopefully also next week's pilot will be better than this one. I'll be interested to see what you guys thought. We're going to be going over a lot of segments of this show, guys. If you want to hear our spoiler-free take, stay tuned. We're going to stay free of spoilers for the first 10-15 minutes. We will get into spoiler territory later in the show. When we do, I will announce it and we will drop a spoiler warning. The top of the show will give you our overall thoughts, whether or not we would pass or play on it, kind of talk about the development history of the show. Then later in the show, we'll get more specific and compare this to some of the other stuff that's airing on TV and even rate the pilot for you. So stay tuned for an awesome show. Okay, we're going to start with our overall thoughts and our pass or play. Tara, starting on that end, what did you think?
Pass.
Pass.
Pass away.
Let's do all of our pass or play. Mina, pass or play?
For myself
Yeah.
or for everyone else?
For both. For you personally, pass or play?
For me, pass. For a teen audience, sure, play.
Okay.
Even though there's like a lot of other things you guys could be watching, but I'm not super keen on this show.
Linda, thoughts?
I'm a complete pass.
I am unfortunately a pass. I'm sorry, Pandora. I think there are better versions of this show on TV right now that audiences can be watching. And we're going to get into our overall thoughts, but real quick, we're going to promote something.
Yes! Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm so excited about this. So I met this lady from my social media. She's following me on AfterBuzz and all the shows that I do. And she reached out to me, and her company's name is Coca-Cola, and they do like all things sweet. And so sweet tooth, sweet. I love it. So she brought some cookies to the studios today, and the cookies are amazing. They're sugar cookies. This one has like my picture on it. This one has Kevin on it.
It's amazing.
This one has Maria and Kevin on it. They're so cool, guys. They're so cool, and I'm so excited about it. And then we've got the AfterBuzz sugar cookies. So we're super excited. So you guys got to check them out. I
haven't eaten all day. I'm going to have a bite.
This is going to be good. Eat it.
Ooh, do we all have
Yes.
I mean, if he's
I
having a
don't
bite,
want to ruin it. Like, I want to
having a
save
bite.
it.
I'm okay with ruining it.
And you guys can find them at Coca-Cola Sweet Designs LA, or check me out in my Insta stories, and I'll have a link to them as well.
That's COCOLAT. I just had a bite. It's very good. I can vouch.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to get into our overall thoughts on the show. Just so you guys know, vaguely the show is about an orphaned young girl who lives on a foreign planet, right? But then after the events of the opening, which are very quickly us learning that she's orphaned, I don't think I'm really spoiling anything because you know
it's
very
within
quickly.
The first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
She starts a new life with her uncle training at kind of like a Star Trek-esque space academy. And then so many things happen, but then things also seem to not happen.
This show is about nothing. Stop it.
I think this show's kind of about nothing, right? There are characters and there's a portal, but that was my frustration with the show, was for the number of already seemingly kind of generic dystopian future shows, this one for me somehow managed to even feel more generic than the rest of these that are on TV. Does anyone have any bit of a more positive take? Because I want to not be a hater, but
they're all beautiful actors.
Yes, they are all attractive.
Are very attractive, and I love the diverse cast.
Yeah, I would say when I first started watching it, I was actually pretty impressed with the cinematography at first for a CW show, because the amount of effort that it took to capture like these beautiful, like the beautiful scenery, like there were a lot of like drone shots that I noticed, a lot of close-ups. I was like, oh wow, like this could possibly be good, and then it started feeling a little Power Ranger-y, a little Xenon girl of the 21st century.
Totally Xenon.
And I don't know how to explain it. Like, at first, like, there were things about it that I liked where I was like, okay, so who destroyed... I mean, it's the common trope, right? A girl is orphaned, kind of like Harry Potter. There's a professor who's like Professor Snape, who's like, oh... what are you doing here?
You're late.
Yeah, it's like
that
literally
scene is in every single thing. I was like, oh.
The same exact thing, except I was like, this isn't Harry Potter, so why am I going to watch this when I have something exponentially better that I could just, like, watch again and again? So, I don't know. It wasn't, like, the worst show I've ever seen. Like, I've seen way worse. But I wouldn't personally watch this. I just feel like it was cliche. The writing I wasn't impressed with the writing, and, cinematography wise good, and yeah, everyone was so attractive. I was like, oh my god, what's happening here?
Tara.
Yeah, I think the best part of the show was the trailer, which is why I wanted to watch it. Very exciting, looked very cool, beautiful people. You're like, badass. Nobody in this isn't badass, and the woman at the top, Jax, who should have been strong, is not. And I don't enjoy that.
Tara, you're so right, because when you sent the trailer, I was like, ooh, this looks exciting. You're right.
And then you want to cry into your pillow during it.
You know, the thing I don't like that I've said often on this show is I don't like watching a show and spending an hour, not even 30 minutes, an hour of my time and not knowing what the show is about still.
Yeah.
I can't waste that type of TV watching time. So what are you? Like, are you a CW teen show? Or are you like Star Trek meets the teen year show? Like, what's exactly going on here?
A mystery show? A revenge show?
I need that established immediately in the pilot so that I can decide whether I want to commit to these characters in the show. And this gave me nothing.
In the first 10 minutes, sorry to interrupt you, it felt like Starfleet, like Star Trek, and I got really excited, and then it failed within the first 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, it looked cool. Like, she was running through the forest, she goes through a portal. I'm like, okay, cool, what's going on? And then, I don't know, it just, like... and then also, like, on a weird side note, you know, they're, like, at a bar and drinking, but it's for a teen audience. And I'm like, are they in high school or college? And I'm like, oh, they're in college. But if they're undergrads, like, aren't you, like, 20? Like, you're usually not 21 unless you're graduating from undergrad. I'm like, why are they, like, drinking?
It's 21.99, Mina. We don't know what the laws of drinking legality are.
Right.
It might be different.
Yeah, I don't know. And the thing that could have gone well that I liked was that there were like a group of friends from the other planets, and it was like, okay, one's a telepath, one's a clone. Okay, I genuinely did like this, but one's a clone, and everyone has like their own power. I'm like, oh, maybe this is interesting, because if they have a problem, they can all use their powers like for good, whatever. You know, like, I kind of like that everyone had a different skill set, but then it just felt cheesy and corny, and I'm like, what are you guys... Like, are you just throwing everything out there from every, like, you know, fantasy universe?
Yeah, and then the 80s and 90s references.
Yeah,
like,
very confusing.
What do you even... That wasn't even funny. Do you know what I mean? We're not in Kansas anymore.
The music cues, man.
You were never in Kansas.
Right.
The thing is, though, sometimes, like, these pilots end up being terrible, and then the show ends up being good, and,
for sure,
you know, gets a cult following, and you just gotta stick with it if you can, and then it ends up being really good. But other times, you know...
There's this show, and I can't think of the name of it, so guys, if you remember, definitely hit us up in the comments, but it was a UK show, and it was about teens that had these powers, and they had these powers because some crazy...
Misfits?
Thank you.
Such a brilliant show. The pilot, you want to go next, and lose your life for the next 2 weeks.
This show could have had the potential to be like that.
100%.
Because you've introduced these young people who have special powers, go on that, like have one character per episode and go in depth on their story. That way I'm invested and I know what it's about, and then move forward from there.
I totally agree. I think my whole conclusion with this show was it just really felt like it was made 20 years ago. Besides the look, which is fairly updated, but also kind of had like a Xenon look to it. Like it looked specifically like late 90s Disney space sets. Like I almost wonder, this feels like an attempt for CW to make a seemingly expensive show on a really low budget. These felt like recycled sets. We don't know who many of these actors are. And I almost feel like by trying to embrace a very wide audience and create kind of a generic show, they've kind of made a show for no one. I just don't know why I would watch this show when now in a peak TV era, there's a lot of interesting options for teen dystopian shows in this exact space. I mean, we covered The Society, which we were a little mixed on, but just got renewed for season 2.
So good.
Yeah,
I was so
Nina loved it. I liked
pilot.
it, didn't love it, but that's an example of a show that takes on a very specific point of view.
That's right.
And this just didn't have a point of view. I think there was no way for me to sort of suss out what the show was.
Yeah.
So it sounds like none of us really loved it. But we'll get into more specifics as to why we didn't like it later in the show.
And the name Pandora
Why?
confuses me because Pandora is the radio station I listen to.
They went with Spotify originally, but then they landed on Pandora.
Yeah, it's just like,
Because of Pandora's box, like unleashing a world of chaos.
Well, yeah, I think that's partly it. That seems to be her name, but again, the title feels like it's as generic as the show, right?
Yeah.
Either way, one of the positives we did like was this very good-looking, and we could argue talented cast, right? They're doing their best with the material they're given.
that's right.
So let's go ahead and talk about them. Linda, take it away.
This is Priscilla Jax. She plays Pandora. Excuse me, see? I don't even know because I don't even know who these people are.
Right.
This is Priscilla Quintina, if I'm saying her last name right. And she plays Jax, a.k.a. Pandora, which I'm assuming is going to be revealed at some point. It was definitely not revealed in the pilot. And then next up we have Rachel Bano, who plays Atria 9. That's the purple hair girl that we saw. And then next up we have Martin Bob Semple. He plays Thomas James Ross. He's the one that can like read your mind on the show. And then we have Noah Huntley, and he plays Donovan Osborne. And you guys know him from 28 Days Later and Snow White, which I think is interesting. Oh, and Event Horizon. And last but not least, we have Oliver Dench. He plays Xander Duval. And you guys know him from Ride, Lifeline, Technology, and One Night at the Aristo.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering if he's the son of Judi Dench.
Oh, interesting.
I never thought of that.
Was he British?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Oh, there was one British guy in there.
It was.
It was. I can't even like this.
It was Greg is his name, who plays the doctor, who I'm like, are you Australian or trying to cover it up through this entire pilot episode? Yet it comes out every other line.
It did kind of feel like everyone had a different accent.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like I was like, this is a
confused about.
Shakespearean actor. This is someone from Veronica Mars. This is someone from a sci-fi show. And I was like, maybe it's because they're from all over the
Different
universe.
planets, yeah.
But even the way they were it felt like they're all being directed differently sometimes. You know, like I was like, what show are each of these people in?
Like the uncle, what show are you on? Like, why so serious?
I know.
Like, what? This is the CW. Calm all the way down there.
I just personally kind of go out anytime there's a show with a classroom and the teacher's teaching and someone walks in late and the teacher addresses it while still seeming like he's teaching, where it's like, audacity is important in our culture, especially the audacity to walk in my class late and not actually acknowledge it. I'm just like, how many times?
Do we have to see this?
Do we have to see this? But I want to talk a bit about the development history of the show because it's kind of interesting. CW, I feel like, is in a bit of a transitional moment, trying to figure out exactly what it wants to do and be. There's superhero stuff people really like.
Love.
Do any of you guys... Well, you watch Arrow. Mm-hmm. Do you watch other Arrowverse shows?
Yes.
So it's, to me, there's sort of like 3 sort of circles that CW occupies. Tell me if you agree. There's the Arrowverse, there's superhero stuff, which is actually pretty well made. There's kind of the comedy stuff, which is female-driven. We have Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, we have Jane the Virgin, kind of hour-long comedies written by acclaimed women, and that stuff is well regarded too. Golden Globe winning. Then they kind of have this third space, which is like sort of inexpensive generic sci-fi. We have this show, The Outpost. We have Supernatural.
That actually got renewed for season 2. I covered,
Outpost did.
Yeah, I covered.
Well, what's crazy is every CW show last season was renewed, which is very, very rare for a network. And there's a podcast I listen to called TV's Top 5. If you're a TV nerd, I'd highly check it out. They do news stories every week about the CW, and the two critics on that show talk about how that show kind of needs to figure out what it wants to be, because it might seem good for a network to renew every show, but it can actually be kind of an issue because, if you're rating 300,000 viewers per episode and you're renewing a show, it almost can look like a network is having an identity problem. Cancellations can sometimes represent a focus and direction for a network. So to me, this kind of represents a classic example of a network not knowing exactly what's really going to cut through the noise, because I don't see this show cutting through. I don't know.
It could.
This show here?
Yeah. Maybe it will, but...
Maybe it will get better after the pilot.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, one can only pray. Is Riverdale still on the air?
Yes. Yeah.
See, I watch that show. I'm into it. I know it's a teen drama. It's not the most fantastic show I've seen, but enjoyable.
It has a point of view, though, right?
Totally.
It's stylistic. The dialogue knows what it's
100%.
doing. Yeah.
And the set design in that show brings me much joy.
Yeah, it's interestingly shot. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with this show. Interestingly, it is showran and created by Mark A. Altman, who showran The Librarians for a while, which is a show people actually really like. I think that show seems to be having fun. I found this show to be a little joyless, very serious.
But it was snooze fest.
A little bit of a snooze fest. I would have preferred a campier version of this show.
Yeah, if you're going to be... I'm going to say corny, then be all the way corny.
Yes.
Like, own it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Girl with the purple hair that looked like, from 1980. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do, like, that whole cosplay and all of it, just do it. Own it. I think it would have been way better.
I agree.
Hey, you guys, real quick, Ryan in the booth here. I actually found a list of everything on TV and movies that has a "you're late to school" moment with that line "you're late." I'm just gonna read them off real quick. Lilo and Stitch, Big Fat Liar, Tommy Boy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Back to the Future, Power Rangers, Ned's Declassified, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Powerpuff Girls, and Harry Potter. All have that moment.
And now Pandora.
Now Pandora.
Add Pandora to the list. It's definitely a trope that we see a lot.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been our non-spoiler coverage of Pandora. You can tell our panel's slightly negative on the pilot, but what's important for you to know is that these are just our opinions. We're just 4 TV watchers, and I truly, earnestly mean it when I say I wish everyone loved every TV show, because I want there to be people out there who support this show and champion this show. So if you're one of them, hop in the comments, let us know why we're wrong, and we want to hear your opinion. That's what TV discussion is for. That's what our network does. Speaking of, guys, we are the ESPN of TV Talk. We're AfterBuzz TV. It would mean a lot if you guys could hop on iTunes and give us those 5 stars. We're passionate TV watchers, and we know you are too. By rating our podcast 5 stars, it actually bumps our podcast up in the search algorithms on iTunes and makes us more visible. So do that for us, and we will read your review on air. Thank you. And now it's time for our spoiler section.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Okay, does anyone have any specific moments of this pilot that they felt like really quantified their feelings overall that they want to discuss?
We did get one. I just want to read. I am on the live chat, and Noelle said she likes Pandora. So we've got someone. She
Good.
likes the feel of the anime in it. So welcome, Noelle, and hi, Charlie Peters.
Thank
Great.
you, Noelle.
And we'll move on to spoilers. I don't know what you just said.
I was saying, does anyone have any specific moments from the pilot that they can point to that sort of explain their take on the show?
Yeah, I guess, like, the scene where, Jax is in the cave and she's able to decode something that no one for years has been able to decipher, but for some reason she's able to. I'm like, okay, this tells me all I need to know about the show. It's gonna be like that common trope of, like, oh, this outsider is the one who can unlock the secrets to the universe, and she's different from everyone else, kind of like Harry Potter, the boy who lived, like that recurring theme of, like, oh, you're not, like, one person is not like the rest, and it's for that reason that the story revolves around them. But I think that becomes a story that gets boring really quickly, because you don't want, a show that revolves around just, like, one main character and then the rest are weak. And I think that's why shows like, for example, The Bachelor are so successful is because you don't have to have like an amazing lead. You just have to have interesting people around that lead. So I don't know. That's like kind of told me like everything I needed to know about the show, that it's going to be like mainly about this girl, Jax. And I feel like the other characters, like their arcs are going to suffer as a result. I don't think they're going to have strong arcs on the show. And I think that's really important for any TV show.
It's a really good point. Yeah, if you're going to have everyone servicing the protagonist at all times in your show, you have to have a really interesting protagonist.
And she's not that interesting.
Unfortunately, not right now. Yeah. And that's a really sharp observation, Mina. Any other, like, kind of, I've got some specifics that I sort of took issue with this pilot. I think one of my issues was just, I felt like the dialogue felt like the treatment of the show. Like, so in development, what happens is writers will write like a 10-page outline of what the show is going to be. Then they write a script based on that outline. And there was one line where they were talking about the Zatarian, which is one of the races. And the character said, well, at the end of the day, the Zatarian are evil and warlike. And I was like, that's just something that was pulled straight from the treatment. And then she goes, I'm going to get in the shower. And she gets in the shower. She showered for 3 seconds.
Not even 3 seconds.
And she got, but kind of a sexy shot. That was interesting. The only objective sexuality was a female, which I didn't necessarily expect, because this seems like this might be attracting a female demo. We're used to the hot shirtless dudes. I was surprised we didn't get any of that. And then she goes, now I need to go. And she leaves. And the other moment that just made me want to jump out of my chair was when, I think it was the professor was talking to someone and says, well, I wonder what your sister Odessa would say about that. And it's like, just when we have to be told information, it becomes so clear that they should have just punched the script up a little more, you know?
Yeah.
That was my frustration with the show, was the dialogue didn't have much style.
I feel like even when, pseudo Professor Snape comes in and he's like, you should get along with people, even the people that you do not like. I'm just like, I can't anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of, like, checked out. But then I kind of, like, checked out during part of it. Then I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be good. Let me, like, not be so judgmental. Because I do think it has the capacity to get better. Like, The Outpost, for instance, another CW show, season 1, I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is terrible. Episode 2, terrible. 3, and I was like, I can't do this. Finally, I reached a point where it was like, I think 6 or 7 towards the end, where I'm like, this is actually getting pretty good. Like, what's happening? Or is this some weird Stockholm syndrome where I'm like so used to like being captured that I'm like growing to love this thing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could get good.
I feel like that shower scene, later we found out, though, that Jax is an actual lesbian, right? Because she dated somebody's friend who was a sister. They said, oh, that's because she's dated my sister, right? So that whole thing where she gets unclothed and goes in the shower, they're writing it as though it's like, no girl gets undressed under any other roommate. But girls do that. It's like living in a locker room. If you've lived with a girl for 2 years, like, she's just going to see you get in the shower and nobody thinks anything of it. But I feel like they wrote this in as though they'll get it, that they're together. And no, we found out 3/4 into the pilot, which means, like, now we don't even know her relationship, where she stands, even with her girlfriend. She didn't even greet her like it's her girlfriend.
Right.
And that was such a weird thing to throw in at the end, where we feel no connection for her or to either of them at all, which I was annoyed by. And I felt like the whole pilot was melodramatic, and Jax was not strong. There's so many moments where she's like, I'm going to go check out the cave. And, like, a man has to grab her and says, not now. And she's like, let me be. And just, like, the moment when she's in the spaceship where she's like, find me a light seat spaceship. And they're like, yeah. And she's going to take control. And she's, like, flying it. And then there's a moment where Raylan looks at her and he's like, aye, aye, Cap. And they lock eyes as though that is the most dramatic sentence anybody's ever heard in the entire show for 15 seconds. They go like... Time.
Tara and I are doing it right now for you podcast listeners, and it is very dramatic.
And you're suffering inside the whole time. You're just, this is not necessary. And then they take off.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Jax. I'm glad you mentioned her sexuality, because it can be frustrating when shows use homosexuality as a character trait. Like, obviously that's an important part of someone's character, but this kind of felt like they wrote the pilot, realized she might not have been the most dynamic protagonist, and then let's make her gay. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Which you sometimes see on TV, because it didn't really, I don't necessarily think her sexuality had much to do with anything. So it's frustrating when people exploit the LGBT experience as a way to just seemingly put an interesting layer on a character but don't explore it. Maybe they will.
I thought it was insinuated that she's not necessarily straight or gay, but she's
probably
fluid
fine,
because
she's
like very
hit
aggressive.
On the doctor with Greg yeah. Totally. It's just like I think that's
like it's not
girlfriend.
him. It's not him I'm interested in. I'm just like looking at him like
yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're being kind of shady, but it's just because none of the four of us really loved it. But again, if you liked it, let us know in the comments. We are going to, a couple more segments, guys. We're going to give you some of our comparable shows and rate the pilot. But any other thoughts before we move on to those segments about this show? I don't think any of us are watching another episode, but...
And, like, what was that purple... Like, you know what it is? The more I think about it...
Oh, yeah.
The purple block
The electricity
thing.
portal?
Yeah. They just... It was almost like they threw in a bunch of different shows and ideas and, like, clammed them into one pilot. Because... You didn't explain anything. You just threw everything out. That's what it is. Okay, now I figured it out in my head.
Yeah.
Nothing is explained.
It was like Power Rangers, Star Trek, Harry Potter. Like
from you mentioning that she's gay to the doctor to her living on some planet, and then now she's living on Earth, maybe at some academy that does what?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it's like all of these
training.
things.
Does training.
Training for what?
Oh no, just they train.
They train.
Just training.
And then remember when they were in that like simulated spaceship, and then you thought that something was happening, but they were just training.
For attacks,
that's what it was. It was a bunch of like, let's just cut all this and throw it together and call it a pilot.
Right.
Also with the purple electricity wall, I don't know why she touched it. I get so mad when people just touch stuff. I'm like, don't. Why are you touching that? She's like, it hurts. And I'm like, yeah, you should have thought twice before sticking your hand in there.
I don't even know what it is.
I just don't like characters who don't think before
and then you're just going to jump in and you're going to take this dude with you? Because if that was me, I'd be like, I'm not going anywhere with you. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, don't kill me because you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
I guess not all of these occurred to me until each of you guys contributed something. I'm like, oh my god, what was I like? Why was I being so like optimistic?
You were giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yes,
Maybe because you like The Outpost, CW.
But I didn't for like half my time watching it until the end.
Well, I do think that takes us into our next segment, which is shows that compare to this one. The Outpost is a really quick comparable show, right? Same network, same kind of target. I did think of The Society. It's a futuristic dystopian show. And, you know, even like a show like Deadly Class on Sci Fi that unfortunately got canceled. The Magicians is another one I thought of. It shows you there are kind of a lot of shows in this same sort of space. Legacies. Any other shows that you guys thought of that maybe we could at least suggest to try this show if you like those shows?
Starship Troopers.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
If you like this show, here's two better shows to watch back in the day. Firefly and Battlestar Galactica. I would just say watch those first, and then when you watch this, you'll be like, oh, I get all these guys now. That's all I got to say.
Joss Whedon, smart guy.
Smart guy.
Yeah. Any other? We named a lot, Mina, but
No, I don't even want to put it up next to something else. But yeah,
fair enough. Well, at this point, we're gonna rate the pilot. I have to give this a 1.9.
That's a good
rating.
Out of 5. Always out of 5.
Oh, am I going next?
You are going next.
The pilot 1 out of 5. I'm giving it 1 out of 5.
1.
Yeah,
it's just the pilot.
Just the pilot.
Just the pilot.
I guess I'd give it like a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 2.1 because they used a word scumweasel, and that's a word I plan on using every day for the next 7 days, because who says that? Nobody.
I love it. Well, again, we want to encourage you guys to disagree with us. Sometimes we bring pilots on this show that we don't really like. Oftentimes we bring pilots that we love. That's what this show is, right? We bring you our hot takes on every new pilot that's being released. So please disagree with us. Blood and Treasure, a lot of people disagreed with us. We came in not liking that show. The comments are filled with people who completely disagree with us, which we love. So it's a democracy, guys. This is television. Hop in the comments and please let us know your thoughts. The CW does pretty well, and they attract a very specific teen demo. So let us know what you think of the show, and that is your prerogative as a viewer, is to let us know. So hop in those comments. Meantime, guys, you can catch us on social media. I'm on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham. How about the rest of you guys?
Guys, you can find me all across social media at Linda is So Girly.
Hey everyone, I'm Mina, and you can follow me on Instagram at Mina Makes Magic.
Guys, find me on YouTube, Tara Erickson, TaraErickson, and all over the internet. All the stuff.
All the stuff. And guys, we'll be here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. reviewing new pilots. And that's the fun thing is we can tell you what you should be watching and maybe what you shouldn't be watching as well. So you can tune in live on the AfterBuzz TV main page at 5 p.m. Pacific and join the conversation. If not, we're on YouTube and iTunes as a podcast. Check us out, send us some love, and we'll send it right back your way. Thanks for tuning in.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.